they might not be looking for drama, Korean telenovela or what, but they definitely will be interested to listen to the news even if they are in the bedroom. Okay, because news include emergencies, and then of course their part of their life is emergency. Okay, and there should be a desk for each one of them. That's the ideal. And then a reading nook. Someone mentioned in the write-up that people in the 40s don't really still read books. So still read books. No? And that's a good point. And especially when you are in the medical profession, not everything is in the internet yet. Sometimes they have their own books which they grow up with in their study. Um, as for the boys, oh, wait, I have to stop sharing first. I forgot that I should record. Oh, someone's recording. Okay, so let's continue. Percent now. Um, for the boys' room, there should be a lot of storage spaces, especially for sports equipment. If not sports, then some hobbies. Okay, and then there should be a computer game area. Now, you should not miss this because you yourselves, I think, are also into it. No? And then it should be separate from the study area as much as possible. Although the room is smaller, I think there's still a space for it. And then the ideal bed is twin bed or a bunk bed with study area below if you really need more space. Um, some used full bed, and I wonder why, because full bed is comfortable for two persons, and this is just a kid, 10-year-old. And so even if you put another person in a twin bed, that's still comfortable. Um, the same applies to a girl's room. Okay, the twin bed or but the bunk bed doesn't apply so much in a girl's room. There should be generous closet space because girls have more clothes. I don't need to explain that, no? And then there should be a vanity or dresser. Also, computer game. A lot of girls also play games. Okay, especially mobile games or computer games, general. I know a lot of my students who are now professional who went through that phase. Um, Now, in designing a room, zoning still applies. So you still have to put zones like this is the sleeping zone or reading zone, or even a public zone or a more busy zone and more silent zone. Okay, so there should be that first, and then you should study the movement of the user because to some, I noticed that uh, going to the from the bathroom, you have to cross the bed to go to the closet, so it's not very convenient, it's not very efficient. And then you should avoid wasted space. To some, I indicated, I asked what is this space for. No, it's a waste. And then if details are not given, so we consider the most acceptable setup. So what comes to mind right now is, for example, older sibling gets the bigger room. So most of the time, the smaller room goes to the younger one, in which case the boys' room. Um, Also, all the assumptions that we've been making are, of course, um, are the most acceptable assumptions. Now, I will present some examples from your work. This one is from James Moises Dagani. Congratulations. Your work is presented here. This is one of the best layout I saw in a master's bedroom. So you see the bed there, it's very spacious around the bed, and across that is the TV. And then there are desks. There are two desks, although it's not labeled whether what these desks are. Um, then there's a seating that could be a reading. Again, it's not labeled. So that's why this this example is not perfect. Um, the desk, for example, I would rather put them right beside the TV because they're not expected to look at the TV when they're using the desk. So, and then there's a TV for the wife and TV for the guy. And this corner could be a sitting area for reading. And then there could be books or a bookcase. And then the other corner, since it's near the bathroom, there could be a vanity, especially for the wife, no? Or it could be a unisex also if the guy is also into also has a lot of ceremonies. Okay, so we have a lot of that now, no, metrosexuals. Um, for the boys' room, I could not find a very ideal example, but this is one of the submissions which I liked by Danica Montenegro. Um, so she used a bunk bed, and then underneath that is the study area. So there's a lot of space, closet space. So it's not only one closet, there are two closets. One closet could be for stuffs, the other one for the clothes. Um, how I would improve on this, maybe I put the stairs right here in the middle so that the desk can be like an L, so that the other part of the side of the L is like the place for games. So and then so that's a lot of space already. For the girls' bedroom, the best example I can give right now is from Jude, although there's a little problem here. I like the idea that the study area is here at the end of the room along the window, so you're not actually disturbed because it's in the farthest part. No? Even if you have some visitors here doing something else, so you can still write or do your thing. Then the bed is here, and then the this area near the door is the best place for the closets and the vanity. But I would not enclose it like this one because it makes it more tight. Okay, so open planning should have been done here. Okay, but otherwise, this is the layout so far that I liked. Now in drafting, there are many issues. One is the standard furniture presentation. Let's go back to some examples. So a chair should be just like that. It's very, you can easily identify that it's a chair, that it's a bed. But sometimes here it's okay. For example, this one, you don't know really what this is. It's the one in the corner forming an L. Is that a table? Is it a bookcase? Is that a cabinet? It's not labeled, and then the shape is not something which we can easily recognize. And then you should use alphabet of lines. Okay. So yes, because well, you went through graphics one. I'm teaching graphics one right now, so that's why I also look into how you applied what you learned in graphics one. I'm going to show you an example. This one, no? So this one makes use of different weight for each line. The dimensions are very thin, and then, for example, for the bed, only the main outline of the bed is thick, but any details inside is thin. So even if you remove that, okay, you know that there will be a bed here, and then you can also um, um, measure now the allowances, no, the distance between walls and the bed. Um, for example, here in the elevations, the glass has a symbol to indicate it's glass, but it's made of thin lines. So, and then for section, they use a gray because it's not as dirty if compared to using black all throughout. And then besides, you can see even the dimension line pass through that gray area. Okay. So in your case, you can use pencil if you have to do that. If you're using tracing, you can smudge the pencil at the back of the tracing, so you can still use the front for the ink. So lettering, again, as I mentioned, since I'm in graphics one, so I have to be strict also in lettering with you. But then it should be all throughout, even in your own career, no, that you know how to letter properly. Um, I saw some letters which are very narrow, some are not straight. You need to improve. Dimensioning, so horizontal dimension should be on the plan. When I say horizontal, anything which is seen from above, like in the floor plan. So, and then vertical dimension, anything which is when you're standing up, anything you see while you're standing up. No? And then if you have a section, only that part which is sectioned should be dimensioned. Again, let's go back to the example. So most of the horizontal dimensions are here, and here I guess they cannot avoid because it's difficult to place here. So there's only one level of dimension, which a horizontal dimension in this elevation, and here we place it on top, no, on the bed, number one. As much as possible, we avoid what happens here in number three, where you put the dimension below the drawing, okay? Because normally there's just not enough space between the drawing and the drawing title. Okay, so if I would put this above because there's actually space. Okay, so this is not a perfect example. The cutting plane line or elevation keys. So let's go back to the example. So this is the cutting plane line, and then here. So this is more correct because there's an indication. It's B, B, A, A. This one does not. Okay, it's unknown. But then you can also use the elevation keys, like what happened here. Okay, so this is like an arrow pointing that way, and it's number one. So this means this wall is drawing number one, which is not what we see here at my right. So this is more common and this is more neat. So you can also use this instead of the section line. Now, drawing reference. So this refers to all of this, what you find in the circle, even the one in the title block. This is A201 sheet. And then the drawing numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the bedroom plan is 5. So therefore, this drawing is 1 over A201. Okay. Now it's possible that the bedroom elevation is found in another sheet, possibly A202, and then it's drawing number, say, drawing number 5. So here in the key plan, it's pointing up, so it will tell you where to find the drawing. So this is drawing number 5 in A202. So that's the most efficient way to reference drawings. Okay, and I will require you to use that method here in our design class. I'm sure that you learned what you learned in building tech before. I've encountered that where you have it's complicated. I never really understood what they taught you. So this one is what we're going to use in our design class. And perspective. So let's talk about interior perspective here. You should use man's eye view. Okay, there's a lot of you who use like a bird's eye view. Okay, or like a giant man's eye view because it's above, no? And then the view from the wider part of the room. So we have a rectangular room. So especially the very narrow one. So you view it from the wider part. So you see more, not from the narrower part. You see less, and everything is behind the book, behind the bookshelf, behind the cabinet. Then anything against a wall which was removed because it is in the projection plane should also be removed. So if you're looking at a wall, a room, we remove the front wall so that we can see inside. So anything against that wall should be removed. If there's a desk, even if it's not attached, but it's against. So anything aligned to it. So that we can really see a better, we can appreciate better the arrangement inside. This is an example from Jude Andrew Balonda, which I think is very good. Um, okay, it's the same setup earlier. We have a bed, and then there's a TV, and he has his sitting area here. Um, well, there could be books along these shelves. That's why he does not have books. So this is a good perspective. Okay, and then you don't have to draw the border. Okay, it can like disappear. The lines can like disappear suddenly. Okay, you don't need a border. This is a 2-point perspective. You can do a good one also even if you're using 1 point. In terms of presentation, so you were designing 3 bedrooms, but you should you should group the drawings according to bedrooms. Okay, like what you happened here. So this is the plan, and then the elevations are grouped together with that. So you don't draw all the plans in one sheet, all the elevations in one sheet, all the sections in one sheet. It's very confusing. Okay, so it's not helping out. So the drawings you're making here are something like what you present to a client. In this case, the client is me. Okay, so if I don't understand it, so normally I would not get you as an architect because you cannot communicate to me. So please bear that in mind in your next plate. And then proportion drawing to the size of your paper. I think the main problem here is the perspective. Sometimes it's very small compared to the size of the paper. And then also sometimes you tend to cram all the drawings, all the floor plans in one sheet of paper. You can have as many sheets if you want. No? I just realized that the required scale is 1:50. But when I received the instructions from the other teachers, I did not notice that. No? So for our next exercise, it will be 1:50. Now let's talk about how to grade your plate from here on. Because I showed you a rubric, and then in that rubric, before in the exercise 1, I realized it's a bit defective. For example, if I grade you according to architectural solution, so there are things it's not perfect, but then it's good in some aspects. So it's a bit confusing how to consider whether it should be given a perfect grade or the second adequate when there should be something in between. Anyway, so therefore I broke that down into 3. So concept, interpretation, and function. So concept, of course, is your idea. But the idea, anyone can have an idea. Even your mom and your dad can tell you, "Oh, it's good. I saw this in the movies, or I saw this in TV and magazine. It's a good idea, and I want to adopt it." So it's just all talk, okay? But then it's a good idea. But so that's why it's not really. It only requires a few points, say 10 points. But then, how do you interpret that idea? So that's the job of the architect, okay? So, for example, if you're going to say Jungle Book theme, okay, so how do you interpret that? Are you really going to cut trees and then put them there and bring in some animals or some other things? So, okay, how do you interpret? And then the third one is function. So, how do you lay out everything so that it's efficient? So the movement of people are efficient. So they have to be separated. And then drafting is like your lettering and the way you use language of lines, and then how definite your lines are. If your lines are straight, they're really perpendicular or parallel. And then presentation, how you organize the drawings, like what I mentioned earlier, that each drawing should be grouped according to rooms, no, not according to the drawing requirement or the plans and elevations. And then here is submission. So um, in the other class, in this class, in our class, there were only two who were not able to submit, but there were also some people who were late, maybe five of you. But in the other sections, on the other teachers, they were complaining that nearly half of the class is late, is or majority are late, or a lot of them are late. And so what I know, since I left San Carlos before I studied abroad, um, teachers have a tendency to give a grade of 4.0 if a project is late. Okay, so that's a bit harsh actually for me. Um, that's why I when I received the rubric, because I did not draw that rubric, I just received it from the other teacher, and I saw the submission part. So I thought, okay, this is fair. But then I think something went wrong. Maybe I received the wrong rubric because I didn't have Canvas, and so they gave me the wrong one. Anyway, so that became the problem because they suddenly agreed, let's give 4.0. Uh, and then I could not agree with them. So my compromise is that I give the lowest grade in that portion in submission, even if the project was submitted within 24 hours. Okay, but anyway, in the end, it's not really a very big deduction, and then no one really failed. And besides, this is just the first exercise, and then this is just like 30% of the final grade. So there are still many opportunities for you to catch up, especially in the second play, because you already know a lot of things that what I'm looking for here. Um, so I'm going to apply this rubric in our next exercise. Um, I think the problem has been posted already, so I will just edit that, and then let's talk about deadlines later when I present the next exercise. So the next exercise is about bathrooms. Okay. Now there are even two of you, I think, who already designed the floor plan of the bathroom, already planned the bathroom. So don't get too excited. Okay. Focus on one problem at a time. So let's talk about how bathroom developed. Okay. So if you watch Game of Thrones, so this is where the Lannister, the father, was killed. No, a toilet with wooden seats. So it sometimes looks like this. It's a place outside the wall, the main wall, so it's hanging. And so, of course, what you bring out drops here directly to below. There's a pit below. Okay, until later they develop some pipes, so there's a piping system. So it's like what's happening among the Bajaus now. No, you have a bahay kubo on the water, and their bathroom is not really a bathroom. It's just a room with a hole on the floor, and everything goes to the sea. So imagine it's like this, and then they also have public toilets. Okay, so you can socialize while you're doing your thing. And then before, it's more common to a public bath. Um, Not everyone around the world takes a bath every day. Um, Even in Western areas where it's cold. So, and then sometimes the bath is more like a social activity rather than a private one before. That's why they have a lot of these public baths. In the Romans, in your history, you also have the thermae. In Japan, they have the onsen, so it's the same. Uh, it's the same concept, no, of public baths. Later on, well, the everything starts to become more personal. So especially if you're sick, So they invented what we call the chamber pot or the arenola. Okay. So someone has to, the nurse has to collect here and then throw away. Um, when the toilet was introduced in the house, it was not actually introduced inside the house but outside of it. And we call that an outhouse or private. So you have to go out of the house and then go here to do your thing. Okay? So actually, I think in Bohol, that's also what's happening, or among in the early Philippines, because there's no toilet inside the Bahay na Bato. Okay. So even the kitchen sometimes is outside. So I used to live, I rent a room inside one house, and then what they do is that they extended the roof so that it includes now the outhouse and also the outdoor kitchen. So now it's like inside already. But there's no, it's a two-story residence, so there's no toilet in the in the second floor, only in the ground floor, and you have to pass through the kitchen. So it's because originally the toilet is outside of the house. Now we will encounter a lot of terms and confusing ones. Now, what is a powder room, wash area? What's a toilet, toilet and bath, bathroom and shower? So it depends on what fixture is inside. There are three main fixture: the vanity or the lavatory, um, toilet or water closet, and then the shower or the tub also. So a powder room only has the vanity or lavatory originally. But then right now, in the modern times, it's acceptable to have the water closet or the toilet seat inside. So normally a powder room is located near the entrance, near the main door, okay? So that guests who go in or people who are going out can wash themselves or prepare, okay? So guests, for example, before going inside of the party, they might want to relieve themselves. They're nervous, I don't know, or the girls wanted to see whether the makeup is still intact, so they go inside before they face. Or if you go outside, you want to make sure that everything's okay before you actually go out and be seen by people, so you pass through the powder room. Okay, so that's the idea. It's very French. The wash area is just a place where you wash your hands or something. So right now it's like a disinfection area. So toilet, it's acceptable now to have only the water closet and then the vanity. So you see, the powder room is like a toilet, no? But then the powder room has to be located in the main door, beside the main door. But then the toilet um, must have. I'm sorry, I should have. This should not be enclosed, no? Must have the lavatory and the water closet. So those two. Um, and then toilet and bath is when a shower is added. Okay. And then of course the bathroom, pure bathroom or pure shower is only the shower area. Um, Comfort room is a term which is used only in the Philippines. Okay, so if you go to a Western country, especially, for example, in Italy, and you look for the comfort room, they will probably lead you to the church and the confessional, because that happened to a friend. Okay, he was telling me uh, he was looking for a comfort room. Apparently, he was talking to a religious person, and that person showed him the confessional. So they call it toilet. Okay, so and I think it's also good that we get used to calling it toilets, because the practice now is so global. So we can have clients which are foreigners, and it's good to know how they use the terms. Okay. Now let's go into the guidelines for bathroom design. Okay. Um, Entry doors. Okay, the clear opening of a doorway should be at least 32 inches. So this would require a minimum 34 inches or 2 feet and 10 inches. door. For universal design, for the ones in the wheelchair, the minimum clear width is 34 inches. So if the existing structure precludes changing the opening, then a minimum 24 inches or 2 feet door is allowable, meaning you have to pass through something like this first before you can enter a narrower door. Um, what's important here is this one, the clear opening. So the clear opening is not the opening between jambs. It's the opening between the edge of the jamb and then the door. Okay, because the door leaf is still an obstruction. So here, although the main door opening is 34 inches, the clear opening is actually only 32 inches. Now, where do you put your door? So you make sure that it does not collide with other things. Does not collide with a person struggling in the toilet. It does not collide with the door of the shower or with another door like a cabinet door or with someone using the lavatory. So the best if your toilet is small, it's best for the door to swing outside. Ceiling height should follow code requirements, so you can please check the National Building Code. And then there are clear floor spaces for each of the fixture. So how much is needed along the in front, no? For you to prepare. I just listened to a video that said that the standard width of a toilet is really 5 feet. So this assumes 5 feet. For lavatories, so if it's a countertop, we measured from the center of the lavatory to the edge of the wall, and then if it's a wall hung lavatory, so there's a minimum requirement of 4 inches. And then in between two countertop lavatories, there's a recommended distance of 36 inches. And then there's also a recommended distance between minimum between two wall-hung lavatories, as long as there's a 4-inch gap in between. Now, if you're designing public bathrooms, you might be required to provide for children and the height of, so there's at least one counter for children and the rest for the adults. But in our case, in your exercise or for this house, it's not necessary. Shower, a 30-inch diameter circle should fit inside your shower, even if you have to cut off a portion of that shower space. Okay, so like this one is chamfered, but then the 30-inch diameter shower area is still inside. And then for the controls of the tub and shower, so there are required heights. And then there's also a seat in the shower. It's not unusual. I've encountered this in some projects already. So this, if a seat is required, so there's also a dimension, 15 inches. And again, the 30-inch shower space, 30-inch diameter shower space should be intact. Recommended height and code minimum height for part of the wall that should have tiles. I think most of the time we ended up with this minimum. And then grab bars, okay, but only if you are required, if you are designing for public spaces. In the house, unless one of the resident is old, but in your case, it's not given in the program that there's an old person or someone disabled, so it's not required. But then you should take note that there are supposed to be grab bars, and then there are minimum standards. This is in height, and that's the one before is in plan. Now windows, okay, tempered glass. Although we will be discussing glass later on, but these ones are those type of glass which, when broken, shatters into small like rounded pebbles, okay, or rounded glass, so that you don't scratch yourself. Okay, so it's a bit expensive. Um, so there's a requirement where you put, because there's a lot of there's a lot of activity here, and then there's a chance that you will probably hit the glass and it breaks. So for tub, showers, door swing direction, so it's not advisable for the door to swing inside the shower stall. So imagine if you're inside here, you have to go to the corner so that you can go out. Okay, I experienced this in some of the toilets in, not shower, no, this is really a toilet in some of the shopping centers here in Bohol. You have to really maneuver like a contortionist inside the small space. So flooring, again, we will be discussing about tiles, different types of tiles, but um, there are two main types of tiles used in bathrooms. One is glazed, or yeah, glazed and unglazed, or I forgot another term for it. But the other, so glazed is the one you see here in the picture, where it's a shiny, no? So it's smooth, and then the other one is rough. So this looks like, the picture, it looks like a wood, but this could also be ceramic made to look like wood. Okay, so you cannot put a glazed tile on the floor. It's very dangerous because it becomes slippery. So even with unglazed tiles, they still put a mat over it so that you don't slip, especially the old people. A toilet bidet placement. So there are again measurements required towards the wall and towards the cabinet. And a bidet is an equivalent of the urinal for women. Okay, and this one in the slide is a very rare layout. We seldom see a toilet and a bidet together. Um, but I guess there might be situation that will call for this. Okay, for toilet compartments, again, it's better if the space is not big enough. The door should swing outside. If it's long enough, like this one here in the third case, so the door can swing inside. So therefore, there should be the clear area in front of the toilet seat, which we showed earlier. Okay, a bathroom should have storage space. Okay, you should have place to put all the toiletries, also all the cleaning equipment, paraphernalia that you're going to use inside the bathroom, and even the towels and the different types of towels. So you can have baskets, you can have shelves, you can have cabinets, as long as there is storage. Accessories, I'm showing here only the toilet paper accessory, and then there are dimensions required. But other accessories would include like um, a toothbrush holder, and also for the soap, and also for the glass. Now, yes, we will be needing an outlet in a bathroom, especially for shaving, for electric shaving, and also for hair drying. But you should not put it near the water source. So definitely not along the shower or bathtub, and a little bit farther from the lavatory. Also, the light should be farther away, um, so that there are no accidents. Now, if your toilet does not have a window, so you will put an exhaust fan. Here they call it a ceiling fan. And then there should be a duct to lead the air from inside to outside. So you can do that under the eaves of the roof or through the roof, directly through the roof. Now, there are other rules of thumb for the layout. This is from another source, and I like the drawings. They're very architectural. So one lesson is that we start with the basic. Okay, you have all those dimensions, and then you have a template for all the fixture, and then you just make sure that the arrangement is okay. And that's the time that you then start to tweak on the design. Like here, so he decided that the lavatory should be a countertop lavatory, and then that it should extend towards the toilet. So now he has that design. And lesson two, better three in a row means it's better to put all the fixture on one side so that the plumbing is more efficient. So you just have a pipe running here collecting the water and the waste from all of this. Okay, so everything is in one side. This is another example. So everything is one side. But then if your bathroom is or your toilet and bath is very big, so you can have everything on one side, on both sides, no? Everything here along this wall and everything in the other wall. And then you just cross one pipe, no, to connect. So you don't scatter all the fixture around the room. This is the typical layout in hotels. You see the 5 feet, which I mentioned to you before, which is considered as the minimum. In this layout, the lavatory is always on this so that you have a lot of counter space here. So normally this is all glass. And then when you open, immediately there's the toilet seat. Okay, so this is actually for a house, it's uncomfortable for most. Okay, but for a hotel, it's okay. So this is a compact layout where you can put a door here or door on the other side, and then the window could be on the side instead. He says 5-piece master. So I counted. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 2 lavatories. Now take note, in the master's bedroom, normally there are 2 lavatories. Why? Actually, in the master's bedroom, normally there is space for each, the husband and the wife. Okay, there's a closet for the husband, a closet for the wife. I mentioned about the desk earlier, and then also the lavatory, especially the lavatory, because the wife, well, according to a lot of studies, the women takes longer in the toilet or in fixing themselves, so the man can use the other lavatory anytime. Okay, so they can work together, so they don't have to fight. And then there's what we call the shub, although this is not a very good example. The shub, this is not a technical term, it's not common. It's just presented here in the website that I'm using. It's actually the shower and tub in one. So you have a tub and then the showers above it. Okay. If you notice the examples we've given, the shower is different from the tub. Okay, this is only the tub. This is only the tub, so that's only a shower. So, but here in that shop, it's also my first time to hear about it. So, there in the Philippines, I think it's very common, and also in hotels. So, it's acceptable. So there's also this layout, which is very common when the room is bathroom is square. Okay. Then a super tiny bathroom that I don't hate. So this is another arrangement that you can use if the bathroom is very small. It might be applicable on your plate, but the question is, in the end, how will it look like? How do you design it as an architect? Okay, so you place the toilet bowl here, you place the lavatory there. Two or three or more of you may have the same layout, but how will it look like after? Okay, so there's a big difference. There are exemptions, of course, when the space is very cramped. You're under us. You're in the second floor and then under the roof or under the stairs. So you still have to make do. Okay. So if you notice, I did not ask you to research for a bathroom. Okay. It's because I forgot. It's because actually because I mentioned last time that I should time it so that you submit it before my lecture so that I can use it in my lecture. Some of what you research I can gather interesting um, research from you and then present it to the class. But then for some reason, I forgot. And then the other teachers were not talking about it. And I just realized that I'm supposed to be discussing bathrooms already. So never mind the homework. But never mind that homework. So I'm giving you another homework, which is for the next topic, which is um, the kitchen. So our next topic will be the kitchen. So your research must contain the following. So well, first, submit a research paper on the principles of kitchen planning and design. This is the basic fundamentals that is a must when doing proper kitchen planning and design. Kitchen planning is very, very difficult. Um, Bathroom is already very difficult, although it's a small room, but kitchen normally are big, and then there's so many possible configurations for kitchen. And then, so research on the following different types of kitchen configuration, the design layout, kitchen equipment, appliances, fixture and furniture and sizes, cabinetry and storage units, design standards for kitchen cabinets, of course, kitchen materials used for a well-designed kitchen, standard utility system of a functional kitchen, and different kitchen styles. This one is like the kitchen themes. And then the usual upload in PDF or text reply in this assignment box. Anyway, so the same, you submit. But then the deadline, the so all the teachers, actually I did not, I'm just reading all their messages in our group chat, so I did not contribute. So their decision is it should be due on Thursday, maybe at midnight. Okay, it should have been Wednesday, but Wednesday is a holiday, so we don't want to work and we don't want you to work. Although I'm sure that in the end you'll be working on this on Wednesday. So the other one is the exercise. Should be exercise 2. I'm sorry. So design and layout using the basic principles of bathroom design, keeping in mind the utilities that is needed for the bathroom to be efficient and functional. So please bear in mind the evaluation I gave in your bedroom suggestions. Drawing requirements, floor plans, blow up. So scale is 1:50. Okay. Master bathroom, common bathroom for kids, and then there's a third one. You're supposed to include a powder room, but you have to look for a space where the owner can add a powder room in the house. Therefore, you will have to show also the floor plan and then the location of the powder room. Okay. Sectional elevation, 2 sides, long and short size of the bathroom, interior perspective of each bathroom, inked. Rendered perspective is to be submitted to AR 2101 class. and then list of bathroom fixture, furniture, and sizes to be used in the design of the bathroom. Now, this time, for the exercise, I will not allow the use of computer or images. Everything will have to be written by hand. And then, so no need to include images when you give your ideas. So the concept is not included here, so there's no need to put concepts. But then when you list the bathroom fixture, so you just make a table and then a list, and then the dimensions all drawn, all hand lettered. Okay. So because I noticed the tendency is to concentrate more on what you can use from the computer. And sometimes some of you even abused it and used the computer text even on the drawing. Okay, so that's not good. Here, interior perspective, you're supposed to submit a rendered perspective to AR2101 class. Now, in the other teachers ask their students to repeat the work because it did not meet their standards. Okay, so I'm not going to ask you to repeat. In fact, they wanted the deadlines to be Thursday would be the research on kitchen, Friday would be exercise number 2, and then Saturday would be the repeat exercise number 1. Okay, so we will not have that repeat exercise. So if you have to submit a perspective to AR2101 class, you have to make a new perspective, not the one you submit, well, except for those with high grades, especially the ones I presented. So you have to redo that, make sure it looks good, and then submit it there. No? So we don't have to redo that here in our class. Okay, so I guess that's it. I'll stop sharing. Okay, so there are only 20 or 19 people. May I know who is recording? Because I did not record it, and I think any of you can actually record this. Is there anyone who's recording? Jean Lulisao. So please, anyway, please give, if the recording result goes to you, please forward it to me also so that I can upload it. I had a problem last time with the recording for my one class, which the class went like 52 minutes, and although the recording was sent to my email, I could not open it. And then it said that this guy recorded it, but he said that he did not. So anyway, so I hope that's very clear. I'll just go over the chat box for a while. Vanity ng Y computer, sir. The vanity is really for putting makeup. Okay. Okay. So you cannot see that on the screen, but right in front of my monitor is a cat. That's why I cannot see so much. Okay, I guess that's it for now. So thank you all for coming in and listening. I hope if you have questions, so just please, yeah, regarding the questions, as much as possible, post your questions in the stream or not in a private message, because sometimes it's difficult to look for it. Even if I receive a notification in